Hello everyone and welcome back. How many of you are tired of having tree branches fall all the time in your yard and you have to go out and get the chainsaw? You get the chainsaw and you realize that the gas is bad. So you go to make new gas and you realize you don't have gas or you don't have oil. Or you just can't get your chainsaw started. Today we are going to show you the perfect solution to the problem, and it all has to do with Makita and their 18-volt battery platform. This is a Makita 18-volt battery-operated chainsaw. It's got a 10-inch bar, and I'm going to tell you right now, I absolutely love this chainsaw. This is model number XCU06. The power button is on the top of the chainsaw. To turn the chainsaw on, you just push the lever on top and then hold the lever on bottom, and the chainsaw starts up. Like all chainsaws, you take the chainsaw wrench, put it on the nut, loosen it up, and then you turn it around and you stick it right in the little slot there, and you can either loosen or tighten the chain. And then of course you'll want to tighten the nut back up. When you first get this chainsaw, you're going to need to go in this little hole right here. That is going to be your adjustment for how much oil your bar gets. You will need to play around with adjusting how much oil your bar gets until you get the perfect amount. The battery slot is on the bottom. It takes any 18-volt batteries from Makita. It is a top handle, which is extremely nice. We're going to talk tool weight now. 6 pounds, 15.8 ounces, tool and battery, which is a 5 amp hour battery if you remember. Battery itself weighs 1 pound, 6.3 ounces, so you can get a good idea as to how light this saw really is. The manual doesn't tell you what size file you need to sharpen the chain on this. I found an 11/64 inch is what you need. Worked great. Another feature of this chainsaw is the fact that it has a lanyard hook. You can hook this lanyard to your belt for when you're climbing up a tree, as this is a really good limbing saw, I think. I tie it to a rope if you're going up a tree so that it can be pulled up later, however you want to do it. It's just a nice feature, one that Makita throws in on this light saw. For me, it's just as important to protect your saw when you're using it and when you're not using it, or when it's in transportation, which is why I chose this rigid medium-sized box. It's got nice handles. The saw fits inside here perfectly. As you can see, there's a little groove on the edge where the blade goes in. It slides a little bit, which is why I'm thinking about building a divider that maybe runs all the way across the box, maybe this way in here, and then you can fit other stuff that you need. The box has a nice gasket, which is IP65 rated, makes this box virtually waterproof from what I've seen. Box closes real nice, has a great handle. I've always loved the look of these rigid boxes to begin with. The latches close nice, they're sturdy. This is just a great all-around sturdy box which will protect your saw when you're going to and from the job site. Here's where you add the bar oil. It's just like any other chainsaw. Unscrew it, grab your bar oil, pour it in. I always make sure I clean the area off around the top so that you don't end up getting any garbage that goes back in. Screw it back on. One nice thing I do like about the Makita is it has the 3 clear gauges on the side, or the 3 windows, and you can easily see how much bar oil you have in there. We're going to do a test here to kind of give you guys an example on how far a 5 amp hour fully charged battery can go when cutting. I believe this is a maple wood, anywhere in between 3 and 4 inches in diameter. I'm going to demonstrate to you how this chainsaw can be used as a top handled chainsaw. Also, or in other words, being able to hold it with one hand and cut, or you can use both hands and cut with the chainsaw like you would any other chainsaw. It's extremely light, like we talked about, which is really nice. You can see how the chain brake works right here. As the saw is going, you just push in on the brake and it shuts the blade off, just like any other chainsaw. It works good, guys. The option to not have gas, that you're always messing around with filling up the gas tank, running out of gas, having to mix new gas, not having the oil, or mixing the wrong gas and oil, or risking yourself putting the wrong gas in that doesn't have oil in it. All of these are issues that the common homeowner runs across. And if you're just going out to cut up trees every now and then, gas is sometimes old and you have a hard time getting the chainsaw started. That's just the reality of how it goes, unfortunately. The chainsaw will shut off after 60 seconds of not being used. The power of this chainsaw is supposed to be comparable to a 22cc gas chainsaw. I've never used the 22cc gas chainsaw, so I'm not sure where the power difference is, but this thing's got a lot of power for what it is. I am not saying that this chainsaw is going to be able to hang with a professional saw, and I'm not telling you that you can throw your gas saw out and run this saw all the time. You're going out in the woods cutting up trees to heat your house. It's not what this is intended for. I think that this is a really good limbing saw. You know, if you're a professional, maybe you would use this as a limbing saw for the simple fact of how light it is. It's got the hook so you can tie it on and take it up the tree. No way, any shape or form, and I'm telling you to take this saw and throw away your gas saw if you need a saw for cutting up firewood for heating your house or anything like that. We're going to show you right here how this saw handles when it cuts up a bigger log. And unfortunately, this first clip I screwed up on. This log was a lot deader than I thought. Now we're going to get into some real hard wood here. This wood here is definitely a lot more work for the saw. And unfortunately, I should have probably demonstrated cutting this log last, as the saw is not made, I don't believe, to run constantly like I'm doing in this test. So unfortunately, we are going to run into some overheating issues. Right here, I'm going to show you how to put the saw into power boost mode. What you do is you push the button in and you want to hold it for a few seconds until it turns yellow. What this function is used for is it gives the saw a little extra power, and you are able to use that power for an extra 60 seconds. The saw only allows you to use the torque boost mode for up to 60 seconds, and then it will shut it off. So if you try to put it in again right away and it doesn't work, you may need to let the saw rest for 10 seconds or more in order to get it to go back into torque boost mode. So what happens here is I'm showing you the saw shuts off right as I get done with the cut and it turns red. And what that is the saw has a built-in overheat protection. So if the tool or the battery is overheated, the tool will automatically stop and the light lights up red, and then you will need to wait for it to cool down. And I think the issue that I had here was the fact that I made all those cuts in a row, which I don't think the saw is necessarily made to do, because I was just trying to see how many cuts we could do. And then putting it in torque boost mode, I think probably is more taxing on the battery. It was 68 degrees out when I filmed this video, so I don't think that's too hot, but the owner's manual does say that if you are operating this in a high temperature environment, it is likely to turn the red light on, which will stop the tool for overheat protection. And once again, the overheat protection means either the tool or the battery, or it could be both, are getting too hot and they need to cool down. Another thing to take into consideration is I've already used this saw multiple times, so I did sharpen the blade myself. I'm not saying I'm the best sharpener for the blades, so it is possible that the blade isn't 100% sharp. I mean, it's not factory sharp, I would think, from when I started these tests. You may get a better cut right out of the gate, or if you're a professional sharpener, which I am not. Unfortunately, due to all the cuts in a row and then using the torque boost mode, I think did not help. I start having issues with the saw overheating. I have to take a break for a while, then I come back to finish off the cuts. A few of the other features that this saw has is it does have a variable speed trigger and a high chain speed of 0 to 4,720 FPM. It is supposed to have an adjustable automatic chain lubrication, so I believe that it will automatically lubricate the bar when needed. You just have to set the amount of oil that you want the chain to be lubricated with, as I talked about a little earlier in this video, because there are 3 settings for that lubrication when you're setting that. It is only supposed to weigh 7.2 pounds with the battery. We saw the front handguard with the chain brake on it, which I think works excellent. This chainsaw is fairly quiet, I believe. Like I said, I don't have any experience with any other battery operated chainsaws. We're gonna get done right here. You can see right here what the decibel reading is. So once again, I think that this chainsaw is an excellent 18 volt chainsaw. I was able to cut a total of 39 pieces of wood. 36 of the 3 to 4 inch pieces, and then if you're going to count the garbage wood, 3 of the 10 inch on one 5 amp hour battery. And to be fair, the battery might have still had a little power left in it, but usually what happens is when the battery is about to go dead, or I'm thinking that it hits that safe point where it automatically like shuts off. If you wait a minute or two, it seems to have a little more power and you can start to cut again, and it's only for a short period of time. According to Makita, when the saw shuts off, when you first start losing power on the battery, that's when you're supposed to stop using the battery. And so that's what I did here, because that is what Makita says the appropriate way to extend or get maximum battery life out of your Makita batteries. So with the amount of firewood that this thing cut, the size, the way it handles, everything about it, I mean, I am just blown away with this little 10-inch top handle chainsaw. And I highly recommend this chainsaw to anybody who's looking to get a battery operated one. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video and you found it informative and it helps you in your purchasing of this new Makita chainsaw. If you've got any experience with other chainsaws, let me know in the comments below what you think of this chainsaw. If you guys found this video helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. And until next time, thank you for watching.